Hey, it's Ethan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Curt Premium 4-bike hanging style bike rack and how it fits on the back of our 2022 Toyota RAV4. This is a hanging style bike rack and it does taper towards the end, which we'll get to in just a little bit, but it might be a good option for you if you're trying to transport up to 4 bikes at 180 pounds total where you need them to go. Our bike is held in place by these cradles, 2 on either side, with these rubber straps, as well as this rubber strap to prevent it from swaying in the back. So it will make frame contact with your bike, which is important to keep in mind, because if you do have a carbon frame bike, it could potentially damage the frame while you're driving. Like I mentioned, you can see that it does taper here towards the end. So if you do have a couple kids' bikes that you're trying to bring with you, you won't need a bike adapter bar for them, because they will have smaller frames. And as you can see on the cradles here, they are grooved to accommodate your brake lines, so they'll hold that without damaging it. And on the front here, you can see there are 2 reflectors. So if you live with it in this position, someone behind you will know that it's there. One thing I have noticed is that if we don't have a strap keeping our tire to our frame, as it rotates, it will actually make contact with the back of our vehicle. So we definitely recommend picking some of those up to hold your wheels in place. We can get our bike off now, starting with this anti-sway strap in the back. All you need to do is pull them off, and then we'll be able to lift our bike up and away. With hanging style bike racks, sometimes it can be a little tricky to maneuver them, especially from the back. This one's not too bad. We got our bike up and off. Without our bike, we can see that if we leave it in this position, it does add quite a bit of distance to the back of your vehicle. Take a quick measurement to see exactly how much. From the bumper to the furthest point back, it's about 34 inches added to the back of the car. So it's definitely sticking out quite a bit. But one of the nice features that this rack offers is that if we remove this clip and slide the pin out, we can actually fold these arms down. And all we need to do is replace the pin. Once we replace the clip, we can get a new measurement to see how much space we've saved. So from the bumper to the furthest point back now, probably actually going to be this point down here, about 11.5 inches. So we more than halved the distance that we're going to be taking up. Another good feature about this rack though is that it has the ability to tilt away in this position. So we come down here, we pull this clip out of the pin, we can hold the rack. Again, you might have to shift it back and forth just a little bit. Then we'll loosen this bolt in the back, pull it up, and we can tilt the rack away. Will give us plenty of clearance in our case to open up the hatch. Now, the bikes do have to be unloaded, which is pretty much always going to happen with hanging style bike racks, but once we're back here, we have plenty of room on either side to sit, change our shoes, get helmets, water bottles, anything out of the back that we might need for our ride. Now we'll tilt it back up, drop this in place, tighten this hand knob in the back, and replace our pin, shifting the bike rack back and forth as needed, and then replacing our clip on the bottom. While we're down here, we'll grab a quick ground measurement just to see how much space we have from the ground up. In our case, it's about 10 inches. Basically just comes straight out from the shank, so wherever your shank sits on your vehicle is where the rack itself will sit. Something to be considerate about when you're going over hills or up curbs. If you're worried about how close it sits to your vehicle, we'll get a measurement to give you an idea of how close that will actually be. So from the bumper to this knob here is about 3 inches. It's about the same up here. There will be a little bit of movement. That's just kind of the nature of the beast with these hanging style bike racks, but nothing I'm going to be worried about making contact with the back. As far as hanging style bike racks go, this one is pretty small and it's not going to cover a ton on the back of your vehicle. Your license plate is going to be mostly visible. It'll block the very middle of it. Your taillights are very fully visible, and your backup camera is actually off to one side here. As you can see, like I mentioned, it is still pretty much fully visible. There's going to be a little bit of an obstruction, but you can see most of what you need to see. It is a 2-inch shank that fits into our 2x2 inch receiver tube. It's held in place by an anti-rattle bolt and this clip on the end. As you can see, there's plenty of room on the end here. That's so if you want to strap down, or you can attach a cable lock to the end of this, you can do that. Overall, as far as hanging style bike racks go, Curt Premium is one of my favorites. I really like that taper towards the end. There's also a 5-bike version available if you want to get one more bike on there, and the weight capacity is pretty good. I think this would be my choice, and I think it's a really nice fit overall on the 2022 Toyota RAV4.